join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Color guard dismissed.
Hi everybody, I'm Cheryl Billings, part of the board of the Association of the Cemetery, and along with Michael Hooley, Jim Simon, Ron Malionic, John Cohane, and thanks to Diane Norris for getting this ball rolling. We really appreciate that. So we are here today to unveil our historic sign, which we found we didn't have one. We also learned that we needed to rename the cemetery because we all know it as Holten Street Cemetery, but it's actually the Holten's burying ground, and that's why the sign will say as such. But today we also wanted to thank the Girl Scouts that really got everything going. And today we have Juliana Bernard. Say hi. So she and about 5 other Girl Scouts earned their silver award they wrote a petition to get help. They did all of this plotting of all the veterans here, which we did not have. They spoke with Kiwanis, the Rotary. They mowed the lawn because no one was doing it. And we just really thank you so much for that service. It's a huge community service, and look what you got. It's awesome. Then we now have the next set of Girl Scouts, and they did our presentation of the flag, and we have, I'm hoping I have this right, Kelsey, hi Kelsey, Savannah, Morency, Lizzie Owen, and Melly Owen, and thank you. So they are working towards their bronze awards, and they've got a couple of projects in mind. They would like to get an official flagpole installed, and we're thinking of getting maybe a coat of arms from Samuel Holten. We're looking into developing what it is, because we know that we would do special occasions with the American flag, but we're trying to get that going. Also, they're trying to raise funds for something that is the poster here. We want people to be able to come into the cemetery and find their loved ones or see who's here, just history. So that's their very big project. They helped plant the mums around the flagpole. They've been keeping them watered. They met and were interviewed with the newspaper, and they're famous because they're on the Salem Evening News first page today, right? So thank you, girls, very, very much. We really appreciate your efforts. We also wanted to thank Senator Joan Lovely for being here. Thank you. Woo-hoo! Our representative, of course, Ted Spiliotis. Thank you. Our veterans that are here today, we really appreciate your service, and we thank you very, very much. And now we are going to have Jim Simon come up and say a few words.
I wish Mr. Trask was here right now, believe me. Okay. Yes, Dick Trask was supposed to speak. He had gathered some notes, and unfortunately he's in the hospital. We hope he has a speedy recovery. I spoke with him yesterday. He is doing well, hopes to be home this weekend. So believe me, I am truly saddened that he is not here today. All right? And this is a wonderful event. This is a true community project. as Cheryl just discussed, you know, with the input from the Girl Scouts, everyone doing such a wonderful job, yeoman's work, in seeing a bad situation and turning it into something good. This is wonderful. This is what Danvers is all about. So pleased to have you all here today. And again, thanks to all that have been involved from its beginning, the Girl Scouts that are getting their bronze badges through this project, and everyone else. Dave McKenna, what a nice job he's done. He's the one that's taking care of this right now. We got him under contract to do it. But prior to the contract, he was here helping keep the place mowed and fix some of the stones, and that was all done for free. He saw a bad situation and he took care of it. And people like Myrna Ferreira for a 2004 article that identified many of the resting places, the cemeteries here in Danvers. And then again, Ethan Foreman, he wrote the article that finally made it into the Boston Globe Metro section about the sad state of affairs with our cemeteries here. Kind of got the ball rolling for us. And Sue Wartons, she worked for years with her family without any formal organization. The original Holten Cemetery Association was formed in the 1850s, and it worked for over 100 years, well over 100 years, and then finally it just dissolved. There was no more interest, people passed on, so Sue carried the torch on her own and did a lot of work here until she just couldn't handle anymore. The money ran out, so that's when this new association was formed, and we're all working together. It brought us here today to the point we are at today. And the restoration and upkeep of this cemetery is important, not only because of its visibility right here on Holten Street, it's very visible to the public, but also because of some of the great Danvers citizens that are interred here. And many of the founding family names are here. You'll see the Tapleys and the Hawks, and obviously the Holtens are here. And among the notables, obviously, is Samuel Holten. He studied medicine and opened a practice in Gloucester, and then moved to practice here in Danvers. He served as a major in the militia during the Revolutionary War, a member of the Massachusetts Provincial Congress. He served in the Continental Congress. He was elected president of the Continental Congress, which I guess technically makes him the first president of the United States. And he was a signer of the Articles of Confederation, which was the precursor to our Constitution. And he served in the Mass Senate. He served in the Massachusetts House of Representatives, and he was an Essex County probate court judge. Quite a resume. And Dick Trask called Judge Holten the most significant citizen that Danvers ever produced. His whole life was dedicated to this country's independence. And once we got our independence, he made sure that this country was governed well. And we've got people like Thorndike Hawks. He was a professional baseball player. He's buried here. In the 1870s and 1880s, he played for the Troy Trojans and the Washington Senators. And this was in the days before they even wore baseball gloves. This was hardcore baseball back in the day. After his baseball career, he became a druggist here in Danvers. And in 1924, Babe Ruth was in Danvers giving a motivational speech to the class at St. John's Prep. And after that, while he was in Danvers, he made it a point to pay his respects to Thorny Hawks, he was called, who was living at the time right here on the corner of Holten and Stone Street, that white house with the wraparound porch. He was living there, and Babe Ruth visited him, paid his respects. So it's nice to know that he's here, and he was well enough respected that the legend, Babe Ruth, went and visited him. Lieutenant James Hill is buried here. He came from England with his family. They were weavers. And fortunately, in Danvers, there was the carpet factory business was here. So he got employment. He and his family worked at the Tapley Carpet Factory, which is located where the Tapley ball field is right now. And during the Civil War, he joined up, was commissioned as a lieutenant, and he was killed in action, the Battle of Lookout Mountain in Georgia, in November of 1863. He was buried there on the battlefield, but his uncle, a Mr. Green from Danvers here, wanted him buried here in his hometown. his adopted town. So Mr. Green trekked 1,600 miles to Georgia, was able to recover the body, and brought him back here, and he was buried here with full military honors. And we've got Marine Corporal Otis Robert Chase, killed in Guam, killed in action in World War II, July 23rd of 1944. We've got so many other people here. This small cemetery contains the remains of at least 96 veterans. It's a wonderful testament to the patriotism of the Danvers citizens. And we got Lydia Kettle, who was the daughter of Samuel Holten. When we first started researching this and I drafted a drawing of the sign, I went to Dick Trask and asked him if this was sufficient. And I had the date of 1816, which was when Mr. Holten died, and it was in his will that this would be forever known as the Holten's burying ground. So I had that 1816 as the date. He said, that's beautiful, just change the date to 1789. He didn't even have to look this up. He said his daughter, Lydia Kettle, was the first person interred here. So that is when the cemetery was actually started. So you'll see the date of 1789 there. So there's so many other stories to be told in this plot of Danvers soil. Unfortunately, with the yeoman's work of our Girl Scouts here, we have this wonderful map. We can see who is here and do some more research. I know the Girl Scouts have done biographies on many of the people here. And our cemeteries are direct links to our history. And Mr. Trask wanted me to note that he was very pleased that in July of this year, we honored the death of Rebecca Nurse. And at the conclusion of the speeches and songs held at the meeting house at the Rebecca Nurse House, everyone sauntered down the path towards the cemetery, down in the woodlot there, and gathered for a prayer and paid respects at the cemetery there. And also in July, the new marker for Revolutionary War veteran Jonathan Waite was rededicated on the High Street Cemetery after the original one was damaged. Get my notes here. And Dick Trask wanted me to convey to all here his gratitude, and I'll quote Mr. Trask. Tell them how pleased and proud I am that Danvers is remembering and honoring its past. And on behalf of the Holten Cemetery Association, I thank you all for what has been accomplished here. And I want to remind you of all the work that still has yet to be done. And even if there were no persons of notoriety named here, it is still just and proper that we take care of our ancestors who labored in our town's factories, tilled our fertile soils, built our houses, streets, and sidewalks, and made this great town that it is today. Thank you very much. Stand ready.
Who's Dan Bennett? Dan Bennett is a selectman, and he's has a few historical facts from his own family.
Thank you, Cheryl. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Savannah, Kelsey, Lizzie, and Melody. Congratulations on your fine work here in this cemetery. Great. Thumbs up. Thank you. So, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen and Chairman David Mills, we welcome you all. But I did want to mention a little fact that in Section 4 on that map right up here, my mother-in-law, Eleanor Wells' grandfather and grandmother are buried there. George Baltara was in the Navy during the Civil War and served on the Potomac flotilla protecting Washington. The rebels would come out at night from little tributaries to be shooting at folks, and the Navy was there, the original gunboats, to protect Washington. And George, his wife, and a 4-year-old child were buried up there in Section 4. So there is a connection. Well, if we go back far enough, we can find connections. We came today and ran into my mother-in-law's, where is she? Lizzie's grandmother. I'm sorry, Savannah's grandmother. They're related. So we got cousins here. We didn't even know it. But thank you all for coming today.
So, we are now going to unveil our sign, which is actually going to face this way. I don't know if you would like to walk on over. We didn't want you hurt during the turn your nobody inside to see the sign. It's going to face this way. Cheryl? Yes? Yes, please. So this is Garrett Daw. He is a Cub Scout. And, yep. Here we go. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate, coming. We're looking forward to raising funds, so keep posted. We want to keep our cemetery going as best we can, but we do need to be aboard as we're trying to do it the best we can, and so more to follow. Thank you, everybody, Senator Lovely, Ted Spiliotis, Selectmen, and veterans, and everybody else. I really appreciate it. Girl Scouts and a Boy Scout. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank